So this is for anyone owning a 1994 to 2001 Acura Integra Hatchback. They're very prone to leaking, and I just wanted to go over some of the more common ones and also the ones that I ran into personally. So the first one, most common, is the tail light gasket here. Sometimes they'll get old and crusty and you just got to replace it. But personally, what I did was, mine wasn't completely shot. All I had to do was tighten up these nuts here. There's 6 on each tail light, 3 back there as well, 1 hidden behind that wiring clip. And what I did is just torque them down real tight, and that seemed to stop my tail light gasket leak. Another issue is if your car has a sunroof, it'll have a drainage tube off to the passenger side behind this trim, and this trim comes off with just a few clips and bolts. There's a few videos on YouTube about taking this trim out, specifically, you know, replacing your rear speakers, or you can find videos on how to replace these or take them out. There's a drainage tube that runs on your passenger side behind this trim that goes back here into a junction, and sometimes that'll become unplugged or clogged up, and what you can do is just check that and see if that's where your leak is coming from. If it's not that, I found this very uncommon one. I've not seen anyone talking about it on forums. There's a little black plug, it's like a clip almost, that just plugs right into the body, and it had no O-ring on it or nothing, so mine was leaking. So what I did is just run some caulking, some clear caulking around it, and also on the inside, if you can see this. That seems to have fixed the issue for me. Another common issue, if you have your antenna assembly, your automatic antenna assembly, it'll have a tube attached to it. And sometimes that tube will either become clogged or unattached, disconnected, and that'll also flood your trunk if it does. Another issue, there's a guide for your taillights. If you could see this little plastic gray thing, it has an O-ring on it, and what happens is a little plastic guide attached to your tail light slots into it, and it has an O-ring. It's about a $3 part, and it's actually a different part number. It's actually a different part number on each side. This one's more of a clear color, while this one's more solid gray. So make sure you get the right parts. That's on the driver's side, the gray one, and the white one is the passenger side. And all that is just a little O-ring with a little plastic grommet. And you could either caulk it in, or you could just buy the $3 part from your Acura dealer. That's what I decided to do, cheap fix. Another issue that I found is the actual lens of the assembly leaking. There's actually an O-ring that goes around on the inside of this lens when they press it in. And mine was leaking. What I did is took off all the wiring, took out the tail light, soaked it under water to find my leak, and I actually had little leaks up on top, so water was trailing down into the lens, and it was actually coming up about this far into the socket holes, and it was leaking out of the sockets, so that's not good. What you could do is soak it under water, and then what I did is shook out as much water as I could until there's about just a little tiny bit on the bottom of it. And what I did is put it in a cardboard box for about 30 minutes with a heat gun stuck inside of it, and that seemed to have took out all of the water. And then I ran that bead of caulking all the way around, clear waterproof caulking. That seems to have fixed my issue.